Hi warriors, welcome back to the channel of Learning Philosophy. You work harder, but nothing changes. You sacrifice more, yet the wealthy keep getting further ahead. Today, I'll expose the one mental shift billionaires use that ordinary people are never taught. And I'll prove it in the next few minutes. If you internalize these 6 Machiavellian laws, your relationship with power, money, and opportunity will permanently change. Billionaires do not think like the masses, and it's not luck, IQ, or privilege. It's strategy, cold strategy. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote that fortune only favors those who are prepared to seize her. The rich simply prepare better and strike faster. Today, I'll break down 6 Machiavellian thinking frameworks used by the ultra-wealthy, mental models that allow them to dominate competition, multiply opportunities, and stay untouchable. These are not motivational ideas. These are weapons. If you understand them, you rise. If you ignore them, you serve. Most people are trained, almost conditioned from childhood, to believe that money comes from effort. You work, you get paid. You work more, you get paid more. It sounds fair, it feels logical, and it keeps millions trapped. Billionaires reject this thinking entirely. They understand a brutal Machiavellian truth. The person who controls the structure controls the wealth. The person who owns the system dictates the rules, the rewards, and the future. The laborer depends on the system. The owner shapes it. This is why the rich don't chase tasks. They chase control. They view every activity through a single question: does this give me leverage, or does it trap me? That one frame separates the wealthy from the struggling. If a task requires their time, their presence, or their constant involvement, they treat it as a liability. But if it can expand without them, pay them while they sleep, or continue growing when they walk away, they treat it as an asset worth pursuing. Machiavelli himself warned rulers against relying on the strength of others. In The Prince, he explained that if your power depends on another man's sword, you are never truly secure. The same applies to money. If your income depends on another man's decision to employ you, you are not in control. You are surviving at the mercy of someone else's priorities. Billionaires refuse to stand in that position. They build systems that allow others to rely on their power, not the other way around. The average person gets trapped in what I call the hour-for-dollar prison. They trade time for money, then wonder why their life never changes. Even if they double their effort, they hit a ceiling because time itself is limited. Billionaires, on the other hand, pursue ownership in various forms. Ownership of businesses, ownership of digital assets, ownership of attention, ownership of products, ownership of ideas, ownership of distribution, or ownership of intellectual property. They think, how do I own the thing that people need? Not how can I work harder to get paid more? This is why when a billionaire starts a business, they don't obsess over doing everything themselves. They obsess over creating a machine that performs without them. They desire a structure in which employees, software, systems, media, or investments do the heavy lifting. They think like kings arranging their kingdom, not servants doing tasks. They aim to make themselves optional. The masses make themselves necessary. That is why the masses burn out while the wealthy scale. When you ask a wealthy person about their income, they never describe it in terms of hours worked. They describe it in terms of systems. My business brings in this much, my investments generate this much, my audience monetizes this way, my brand produces revenue through these channels. Notice the language. It's the language of ownership, not labor. They evaluate money by stability, reproducibility, and scalability. They want money that multiplies, not money that disappears the moment they stop moving. The reason this mindset works is because ownership creates separation between effort and reward. When you own, the system works independently of your input. When you labor, the system stops the moment you stop. Ownership transfers the burden of effort away from you and onto machines, processes, people, capital, or technology. This is leverage. This is asymmetry. This is Machiavellian power applied to finance. Machiavelli would argue that a ruler's authority must be rooted in something that cannot be taken easily. Labor can be taken, a job can be taken, a title can be taken. But ownership, true ownership, grants autonomy. When you own something that produces value, you control the narrative. You choose when to work. You choose how much to work. You choose how far to expand. Your life becomes governed by your design, not by someone else's schedule. What separates a billionaire from a worker is not intelligence, luck, or privilege. It is the refusal to be dependent. It is the hunger to control the structure rather than serve inside it. It is the decision to build assets instead of chasing paychecks. And this is the mental shift most people never make. They think money is earned. The wealthy think money is engineered. They think wealth is not something you receive. It is something you architect through leverage, control, and ownership. The difference between how billionaires think and how the average person thinks can be summed up in one chilling sentence. The rich trust data, and everyone else trusts emotion. Most people make decisions based on fear, excitement, insecurity, pride, or impulse. They change careers because they feel stuck. They invest because they feel lucky. They quit because they feel tired. Their entire financial life is governed by unstable internal weather. Billionaires treat emotion the same way a general treats battlefield smoke. It may hide the truth, but it never changes the truth. They look for what the data confirms, not what their feelings suggest. Machiavelli would call this the foundation of stability. A ruler who acts on emotion creates chaos. A ruler who acts on information creates order. The wealthy operate with this exact clarity. They aren't interested in how something appears. They want to know what it produces. They ask, what does the evidence reveal? What does the pattern show? What outcome repeats consistently? Emotion is noise. Data is signal. This mindset shows up everywhere in their lives. When they choose business ideas, they don't chase passion, they chase demand. They analyze search trends, market gaps, spending behavior, and customer patterns. They want to see proof that the market wants what they intend to sell. In contrast, the average person launches an idea simply because it feels exciting. Then they are shocked when the world doesn't care. Billionaires don't assume the market will like something, they confirm it first. The same applies to their personal habits. A regular person may believe they're doing their best. A wealthy person tracks their productivity, their sleep, their energy cycles, their daily inputs and outputs. They remove guesswork. They turn vague beliefs into observable patterns. This is why they improve faster. The data exposes their weaknesses before those weaknesses destroy them. When it comes to risk, billionaires are not braver than others. They are simply better informed. They calculate upside, downside, break-even points, probabilities, costs, and timing. They ask, what is the worst-case scenario and can I survive it? They treat risk like an engineer, not a gambler. The average person jumps into opportunities blindly or avoids them completely. Both reactions are emotional. Both reactions are expensive. Machiavelli warned leaders to anticipate danger long before it becomes visible. He wrote that smart rulers detect problems in their infancy, while foolish ones wait until the threat is full grown. That is exactly how billionaires use data. They detect market shifts early. They see trends forming before others notice. They pivot before the crowd even realizes change is coming. Their foresight isn't intuition, it's analytics. They simply study reality with a level of discipline most people never apply. This is why they rarely panic during crises. When the market crashes, the masses react emotionally. They fear loss, miss opportunities, and make rushed decisions. The wealthy treat downturns like predictable weather patterns. They check the numbers, watch the cycle, study historical data, and move strategically. Where others see danger, they see discounted assets. Where others freeze, they advance. Their calmness is not confidence, it is calculation. To the cold data mind, progress is not a mystery, it's a formula. Action, feedback, adjustment, input, measurement, improvement. They optimize every part of their life the same way an investor optimizes a portfolio. They test, evaluate, modify, repeat. Nothing is sacred, nothing is off limits, nothing is left to hope. This is why they grow continuously. Their decisions evolve because their data evolves. The average person, however, clings to emotional stories. I'm trying. I think it will work out. I'm scared. I'm not ready. These narratives feel comforting, but they destroy progress. Machiavelli teaches that reality does not bend to comfort, it bends to force. Billionaires apply that force by relying on truth, not feelings. They treat their life like a machine: diagnose, repair, upgrade, optimize. The cold data mind is not heartless. It's effective. It doesn't eliminate emotion, it simply refuses to let emotion lead. The wealthy let data make the decision, and emotion follows after the results appear. The masses let emotion make the decision, and then spend years regretting the consequences. If you study billionaires long enough, you discover a truth that feels almost unfair. They don't rise alone. They rise through alliances, strategic, intentional, power-focused alliances. The average person searches for friends who provide comfort. The wealthy search for allies who provide elevation. This is one of the biggest mental divides between the rich and everyone else. Where most people think of relationships emotionally, billionaires think of relationships structurally. They ask not, do I like this person, but does proximity to this person increase or decrease my power? Machiavelli makes it brutally clear: a ruler is only as strong as the forces that surround him. Allies expand influence, weak associations drain it. Billionaires apply this rule relentlessly. They do not spend time with people who weaken their ambition, slow their velocity, or dilute their thinking. They surround themselves with individuals who operate at a higher level, who challenge them, who sharpen their decision-making, and who widen their access. Every connection is evaluated with cold clarity. Does this person elevate my opportunities or limit them? This is why the wealthy often say, your network is your net worth. But most people misunderstand what that really means. They think it means talking to everyone, collecting business cards, being likable. That is not what billionaires do. They don't collect people, they cultivate leverage. They build relationships that open doors, shorten learning curves, reduce risk, and multiply their influence. They want collaborators, not companions. They want people whose presence increases the value of every move they make. The average person seeks validation. The wealthy seek acceleration. This is why billionaires often pay enormous sums to be in certain rooms, attend certain events, or join private networks. They're not buying social status, they're buying proximity, they're buying the chance to tap into the mind of someone who has already solved the problem they're trying to solve. They know that one conversation can replace years of trial and error. One introduction can create an opportunity that changes the trajectory of a decade. One alliance can shift the balance of power in their favor. Machiavelli warns leaders never to align with those who diminish their authority. Weak allies become liabilities. They bring chaos, envy, distraction, and emotional drama. Billionaires follow this principle with ruthless precision. If someone drains their energy, they distance themselves. If someone complains more than they create, they remove them. If someone behaves unpredictably, they keep them at arm's length. Their circle is intentionally small but overwhelmingly powerful. The wealthy understand something most people never grasp. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of your environment. If you surround yourself with people who settle, you will settle. If you surround yourself with people who complain, you will complain. But if you place yourself among those who assume success, demand progress, and operate strategically, your standards will rise without effort. Billionaires engineer this environment on purpose. They choose relationships that pressure them into becoming stronger versions of themselves. And here's the part most people overlook. Billionaires are also valuable allies themselves. They strive to offer something powerful: axes, insight, opportunity, capital, or perspective. They know a network only thrives when every member contributes. They don't just extract value, they circulate it. This is why their networks grow stronger over time. Every person in their circle becomes a source of leverage, not a source of burden. If a billionaire wants to enter a new industry, they rarely start from zero. They call someone who already dominates that space. If they want to solve a complex problem, they contact an expert who has solved it 10 times before. If they want to expand globally, they leverage a partner who already has the infrastructure. They think like Machiavellian rulers expanding an empire, use alliances to extend power far beyond what one individual could ever accomplish. The average person, meanwhile, wastes years trying to figure things out alone. They let pride, fear, insecurity, or shyness prevent them from connecting with people who could accelerate their entire path. They stay in circles that keep them small because those circles feel familiar. They remain loyal to relationships that drain them because those relationships feel comfortable. Billionaires do not let comfort dictate their alliances. They let strategy dictate their alliances. They build networks that produce opportunity on demand. They create ecosystems where value flows, ideas evolve, and influence compounds. They understand that in a world built on social capital, the most powerful position is not being the smartest or the richest. It's being connected to those who are. If you want to understand how billionaires move, observe this. They are visible only when it benefits them and invisible when it protects them. Most people live in reverse. They overshare, over-explain, advertise their struggles, announce their plans, and seek validation from anyone who will listen. They place their entire strategy in the open, then wonder why they never win. Billionaires treat visibility like a weapon, something to be drawn only at the right moment. Machiavelli would call this the art of appearing powerful while hiding the machinery that creates that power. A billionaire's public image is not their identity, it is their armor. It is a crafted narrative designed to influence perception, attract opportunity, and deflect scrutiny. They reveal just enough to shape how others behave around them, but never enough for anyone to predict their next move. Their real intentions remain behind closed doors. Their negotiations happen in private. Their alliances form quietly. Their risks unfold silently. The world sees only the announcement, never the preparation. This principle is rooted in a deep Machiavellian truth. Visibility invites attack. The more you expose, the more others can target, copy, sabotage, or judge. The average person exposes their weaknesses with unfiltered honesty, telling co-workers about their anxiety, sharing dreams with people who don't support them, posting failures online, admitting insecurities publicly. They think vulnerability creates connection. Billionaires think vulnerability creates openings for exploitation. They control the narrative to defend their position. In business, this principle becomes even more strategic. A billionaire never reveals the true reason behind a move until the move is complete. They don't tell competitors where they are expanding. They simply appear there with full force. They don't announce intentions to acquire a company. They arrive when the paperwork is already done. They don't reveal product ideas. They release them. Their silence is not secrecy. It is protection. It is the disciplined refusal to give opponents an advantage. Machiavelli warns rulers never to show their entire hand. Power is maintained through unpredictability, through controlled history, through the ability to strike from angles no one expects. Billionaires apply this by mastering the timing of exposure. When they want attention, they generate it in a calculated burst. An interview, a press release, a speech, a statement. When they want peace, they disappear. They move underground, working on the next expansion while the world underestimates their silence. But visibility is also used offensively. Billionaires understand that perception shapes markets. A well-timed public appearance can boost investor confidence, influence competitors, or redirect public attention. A controlled leak can generate hype. A strategic statement can calm a crashing market. This is not accidental, it is engineered influence. They treat public attention as a resource, not a diary. They draw crowds when leverage demands it. They retreat when strategy requires it. The average person, however, seeks constant visibility. They want to be noticed, recognized, acknowledged, and included. They post every update, every plan, every thought. They reveal their frustrations, their obstacles, their goals. But when you reveal everything, you control nothing. You give others the blueprint to undermine you. You give critics the ammunition to attack you. You give competitors the ability to anticipate you. You become predictable, and predictable people rarely win. Billionaires understand that power thrives in shadows. Not complete secrecy, just controlled opacity. They do not hide from the world, they simply choose what the world sees. They show strength, not struggle. They show vision, not uncertainty. They show results, not drafts. Behind the scenes they may battle doubts, failures, and setbacks like anyone else. But they never broadcast it. They know that public emotion weakens authority, and authority is essential in every arena where power is contested. This principle also governs their personal relationships. They do not let many people into their inner world. Their real circle is small, trusted, and loyal. They do not share plans with people who haven't earned the right to hear them. They do not expose their fears to those who cannot help solve them. They do not announce their ambitions to those who might sabotage them. Their silence is not coldness, it is strategy. The controlled visibility principle is not about hiding forever, it is about revealing with intention, about choosing which parts of your life reinforce your authority and which parts weaken it, about learning when to speak and when to hold your tongue, about understanding that mystery is not a flaw, it is leverage. Machiavelli understood that rulers who speak too much lose influence. Billionaires understand that those who reveal too much lose power. Most people try to get rich by doing exactly what everyone else is doing, but doing it better. They try to work harder than their co-workers, be more disciplined than their competitors, or learn skills that millions of others are also learning. This is symmetrical behavior. It means you are fighting on equal terms, playing the same game with the same tools, the same strategies, and the same limitations. Billionaires reject this entire mindset. They never try to win by being slightly better. They win by being unfairly positioned. They hunt for asymmetric advantages, those points in the system where a small action creates a massive impact, or where the competition cannot follow without destroying themselves. Machiavelli would call this choosing the battlefield. A ruler who meets his enemy on equal ground is a fool. A ruler who chooses terrain that favors him is a strategist. Billionaires apply this in business, investing, influence, and negotiation. They are not concerned with fairness. They are concerned with positioning. They look or angles others don't see, vulnerabilities others ignore, and opportunities others are too slow or too fearful to claim. They operate where resistance is low, leverage is high, and the rewards are disproportionate to the effort. Most people think the rich are simply more intelligent or lucky. But the truth is far colder. The wealthy select environments where intelligence and luck matter less than structure. They enter industries that scale infinitely. They build products that can be replicated without additional labor. They create brands that accumulate attention. They acquire companies that already function. They sit at the controls of machines that generate wealth automatically. This is asymmetry, where the effort remains small, but the output becomes enormous. In negotiation, this principle becomes even clearer. A billionaire never enters a negotiation without an angle that tilts the result in his favor. Maybe he has information the other party doesn't. Maybe he has alternatives the other party didn't know existed. Maybe he controls resources the other party desperately needs. Maybe he has the patience to walk away while the other party does not. To the wealthy, leverage is not optional, it is engineered. They refuse to negotiate from weakness. They refuse to appear desperate. They refuse to engage unless the power dynamic has already been tilted toward them.
Machiavelli said that a wise leader ensures victory before the battle begins. Billionaires ensure profit before the deal is signed. They structure terms so risk is minimized on their side and maximized on the other. They enter partnerships where downside is capped but upside is infinite. They acquire assets that produce income even in failure. They operate like chess players who think 10 moves ahead, while everyone else is still arguing over the first move. The average person tries to prove themselves. Billionaires try to position themselves. This is why the wealthy rarely compete directly. They don't fight over saturated markets. They don't chase the same customers. They don't offer the same services. They don't enter spaces where the margins are thin and the competition is vicious. They look for blue oceans, uncontested space. They seek monopolies, not battles. They prefer to dominate small, profitable corners rather than struggle for crumbs in overcrowded arenas. And here is what makes the asymmetric advantage method brutally effective. It compounds. Once you gain one advantage, it creates the next. A billionaire with capital can acquire influence. With influence, they can secure exclusive deals. With deals, they get access to opportunities the public never sees. With access, they build networks. With networks, they get information before anyone else. With information, they move earlier. With early movement, they build dominance. Every step reinforces the previous one, creating a staircase of power that becomes nearly impossible for the average person to climb. Meanwhile, the masses stay trapped in symmetrical competition, working harder, not smarter, fighting fair, not strategic, attacking the front door while billionaires move through the side entrance. The average person thinks in straight lines. Billionaires think in angles. The average person asks, "How can I win this game?" Billionaires ask, "Why play the game at all if I can rewrite the rules?" This method also extends to personal habits. While most people try to improve by inches, waking up earlier, reading more books, working longer hours, billionaires target leverage points. They optimize the 5% of habits that give them 80% of results. They identify which actions produce exponential returns and discard everything else. They don't chase productivity, they chase multiplication. They don't chase perfection, they chase leverage. The asymmetric advantage method is not about being smarter, It's about being strategically positioned. It's about understanding that success is not earned equally. It is engineered unevenly. It is shaped by the ability to locate pressure points in the system, remove friction, increase leverage, and stack advantages until the game becomes unwinnable for anyone standing opposite you. If there is one principle that separates billionaires from the masses more than anything else, it is this: they do not let emotions govern their decisions. They are not cold because they lack feeling. They are cold because they refuse to let feelings interfere with strategy. The average person makes choices based on fear, excitement, anxiety, ego, insecurity, or impulsivity. Billionaires make choices based on data, outcomes, and long-term advantage. Their emotional neutrality is not a personality trait. It is a discipline. It is a weapon. It is a shield that protects them from the chaos that destroys most people's potential. Machiavelli said that those who rule must learn to master their own passions, for a leader driven by emotion becomes predictable, manipulable, and weak. Billionaires take this truth and internalize it with ruthless consistency. When a crisis hits, they do not panic. When markets crash, they do not collapse emotionally. When a competitor attacks, they do not react impulsively. They pause, calculate, and respond with precision. They treat their emotional state the same way they treat their finances, with management, not indulgence. The average person, however, is emotionally reactive. They make decisions in moments of anger, pressure, fear, or excitement. They chase opportunities because they feel FOMO. They abandon plans because they feel discouraged. They get offended, distracted, overwhelmed, or anxious, and each emotional spike becomes a detour that derails their progress. Their feelings dictate their actions, and their actions dictate their fate. Billionaires flip this dynamic completely. Their actions dictate their fate, and their feelings are treated as background noise, not commands. This is not to say they do not feel emotion. They feel everything: stress from massive deals, frustration from setbacks, adrenaline from risk, even fear when facing enormous decisions. The difference is that they do not allow those emotions to make decisions for them. They let emotions exist privately, while strategy rules publicly. They build internal systems for handling stress, routines, structures, advisors, environments that reduce emotional volatility. They understand that consistency requires emotional regulation, not emotional expression. In negotiation, this principle becomes brutally effective. A billionaire who remains calm holds the power. If the other party becomes angry, the billionaire watches. If the other party becomes desperate, the billionaire waits. If the other party becomes impatient, the billionaire pushes. Emotional stability becomes leverage. Emotional instability becomes a liability. In every negotiation, the person who loses control of their emotions loses control of the outcome. Machiavelli teaches that rulers must appear composed even when chaos surrounds them. Billionaires refine this skill. They practice neutrality even in moments that would break the average person. They do not complain because complaint weakens authority. They do not show fear because fear invites attack. They do not display insecurity because insecurity becomes a target. They move like chess players who refuse to reveal tension on their face, even when the board is collapsing. Their stillness is not natural, it is trained. This emotional neutrality also gives them resilience. When most people fail once, they sink emotionally for days or weeks. Billionaires fail, analyze, adjust, and move. They do not waste energy mourning losses that cannot be reversed. They do not blame circumstances. They do not spiral. They treat failure as information, not identity. They know that emotional breakdowns prolong the damage, while emotional discipline accelerates recovery. Their speed of rebound is one of their greatest advantages. The doctrine also applies to relationships and leadership. Billionaires do not hire, fire, partner, or promote based on emotion. They choose people based on capability, loyalty, competence, and alignment, not on personal feelings. They can respect someone deeply, yet remove them instantly if they threaten the mission. They can like someone personally, yet refuse to partner with them professionally. They do not confuse connection with usefulness, nor sympathy with strategy. This is the part that feels harsh, but it is the exact reason they maintain control. Emotional attachment does not override strategic necessity. Where the average person seeks comfort, billionaires seek clarity. Where the average person reacts, billionaires evaluate. Where the average person gets offended, billionaires get analytical. Where the average person wants to feel better, billionaires want to win. This mindset makes them immune to manipulation. You cannot manipulate someone whose emotions do not dictate their decisions. You cannot destabilize someone whose internal state remains unshaken by external noise. You cannot pressure someone who refuses to operate under pressure. And here is the ultimate insight. Emotional neutrality sharpens every other skill. It improves decision-making, negotiation, leadership, timing, focus, and risk management. It protects wealth, reputation, and power. It reduces mistakes, increases consistency, and accelerates progress. It is the quiet engine behind every major success a billionaire creates. They understand that internal chaos creates external weakness, and internal discipline creates external dominance. You now understand the 6 billionaire mindsets: ownership, cold data, allies, asymmetry, image, replacement. These are not theories, they are weapons of domination. Use them and the world bends. Ignore them and you will bend to it. So here is your final command. Claim your sovereignty. Stop living by luck. Start living by strategy. And for those hungry for more, the next video will expose how the 1% control people without them knowing, Machiavelli's hidden tactics. Click it if you're ready to step deeper into power.